Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Reardon, and today we're making a giant gummy Lego man, because why wouldn't you want to make a giant gummy Lego man? To make this, you're going to need some water, sugar, glucose or light corn syrup, citric acid, colouring and flavouring, and you can use whatever colour or flavour you like. I'm using red and strawberry, and we'll need sorbitol and gelatin. Now the gelatin that I'm using is 250 bloom. Now the bloom is the measure of the setting strength. Normal powdered gelatin is around 100 bloom, so this one is super strong gelatin. I'll put all of those recipe quantities on the howtocookthat.net website, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. Now I know some of you will ask, can I leave out the sorbitol, and what happens if I just use normal gelatin? So I'll show you the difference. This one here is made from the 250 bloom super strong gelatin and sorbitol, and this one is made just using your normal gelatin and no sorbitol. They look quite similar, but then if you feel them, the texture is different. The sorbitol, or you might see it labelled on the gummy bears as dextrose, that makes the gummies more flexible and gives it that right gummy bear chewy mouth feel. The other one here made without the sorbitol is more tough and rubbery in texture, and that texture really does make a big difference when you're eating it. The other difference you'll notice when you cut or you bite into it is the one with the normal gelatin is opaque, while the 250 bloom one is clearer. That's easier to see if we get a thinner slice. This one is the normal gelatin and this one is the 250 bloom. The stronger gelatin doesn't need as much to set the gummy, so you end up with a clearer, shinier product. Now before you make it, we need to prepare the mould and get that all ready. I'm using a silicone Lego man mould. Just sprinkle it with some corn flour or cornstarch, making sure it gets into all those edges, and then shake out the excess. Now check that your mould is going to sit flat. This one is rather low on the hands, so liquid would just pour out there before the rest of it was full. Because the head is higher, we're going to need to add padding to the body and the feet area, and of course under his hands as well, so you build it up so that that top edge is level all the way around. Now we're ready to start. Pour all the water into the gelatin and stir it through right away. Just use room temperature water. It doesn't need to be hot or warm, just cold is fine, and then leave that to soften. Put the sorbitol, sugar and glucose syrup into a saucepan, and then you want to stir that over high heat. Now the glucose syrup will start to melt down first, but we want to keep it over the heat so that the sugar crystals can melt too. Once it just starts bubbling, wash down the sides of the pan with a wet pastry brush to get rid of any other sugar crystals that are on the sides. And by the time you've done that, it should be about ready. Take it off the heat, and when the bubbles die down, it should look clear. Add in your colour and stir that through. Now if it wasn't clear yet, you can just put it back on the heat unstirred for a tiny bit longer. Once that colour is stirred, add in the citric acid, and this is just for flavour. It helps balance out that sweetness of the sugar and the glucose to make it taste right and make it taste good. Then add in your gelatin. Now by now it will have absorbed all the water and just be one big chunk. Keep stirring it slowly so that it has a chance to melt. Now you don't want any pieces of gelatin, so just be patient and keep stirring it. It'll take about 2 minutes for that all to melt through. Add in your flavouring. I'm using strawberry oil flavouring. You can use oil or liquid flavouring, whichever one you have. And then pour the whole thing into the mould right up to the top. And now for the hard part, leave it overnight at room temperature to set. The next day, loosen the edges by pulling the mould away from the gummy, and then flip it over and peel off the mould. And you have just made a giant gummy Lego man that tastes exactly like the giant gummy bears do. If you love gummy lollies and you love How to Cook That, click on the thumbs up and share this video. Subscribe for more crazy sweet creations. Click here to go to the channel to check out my other videos. Here for last week's Star Wars cake, and here for the website to get the recipe. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you on Friday.